you start the recording, please, Tatiana? There we go. Oh, so hello there, everyone. Good afternoon to you all. I hope everyone is well. This is our virtual volunteering fair, and I'm Deborah, and I'm from GoVolHerts, and we're a project that supports volunteering across Hertfordshire. So we support organisations to try and find volunteers, and we support members of the public, like some of you here today, to try and find volunteering opportunities that really, really work for you, because everyone's different and wants to do different things and has different skills. So we're going to hear from some organisations today, and they're going to tell you about their organisation, because some of them are quite well known, some of them less so. But sometimes you think, oh yes, I know about them, but sometimes you don't quite know everything about them. So it's going to be really interesting, hopefully. Interesting for me as well. And they're going to talk a bit about the volunteering roles they have. We'll have the chat. And my colleagues Tatiana and Amanda are here as well, and they'll be posting links in the chat. So if you want to find out a bit more, please follow the links and have a look. If you do have any questions as well, please do feel free to post them in the chat. And if the presenters can answer them, I'm sure they will do. Or if not, it's something we might be able to find out. And you can always contact us here at GoVolHerts. Our email address is info@govolherts.org.uk. Just going to quickly share the schedule for today, and then we're going to get started. If you bear with me just a minute. Here we go. So hopefully you can see my screen. So we're just welcoming you to the event today. And here is the lineup. So introduction, which we're having now. In a few moments, we'll hear from Amanda at Garden House Hospice, which is in North Herts. And then we're going to hear from InspireAll. They'll be followed by the Watford and Three Rivers Trust, who have a variety of opportunities in that part of the county. Then they'll be followed by the National Youth Advocacy Service. And then for anyone into tennis, the lawn tennis are going to speak to us. After them, we've got someone from the organisation that was known as Ryder. And they've very, very recently had a rebrand and name change. So they're now known as Brainkind. So I'm sure Joanne will tell us a little bit about that a bit later on. They're followed by Space, and then Family Action, Carers in Hertfordshire, the Motor Neurone Disease Association, and finally the lovely Pippa from Pumpkins Wildlife Hospital, for all of you who want to see some cute animals. Okay. So we're going to start, as I said, with Garden House Hospice Care, and Amanda is here to tell us all about what they're doing and what they need volunteers for. Thank you, Amanda.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen, and this is usually where I go hopelessly wrong. So we might have to sing while I work out how to do it. Hold on 1 second.
You should have a green share screen button at the bottom of your screen.
I do, but sadly,
and then you click on the screen you want to share.
Sadly, I'm not seeing the screen I want to share, but I'm going to get there in a moment. Really, I am. Okay. So you now should be able to see my screen. And is that looking promising?
That's looking better now, Amanda. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So sorry about that. Technical hitches, get them over and done with first. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you about the Garden House Hospice story. Many people know of us as a place where you go to die. And that is, in fact, a bit of a misnomer for the hospice. Of course, people do come to us when they are nearing the end of life, but for much of our work, we are working with people who are still vibrant, who are still very much alive, and who want to have fun and use their time well in whatever time they have left. So I just want to share with you today some of our story, some of the volunteering opportunities we have, and see if it's something that you would want to be part of. So our philosophy of care very much comes from Cicely Saunders, who was the founder of the modern hospice movement. And this is how she described her understanding of why hospices are important. She said, "You matter because you are you. You matter to the last moment of your life, and we will do all we can to help you not only to die peacefully, but also to live until you die." And it's that living until you die part that our volunteers help us so brilliantly with. So at the hospice, there are a number of services that we offer. We offer family support for members of people's families who have had a terminal diagnosis and who wish to be supported through that time. We offer health and well-being for people who are unwell but want to make sure that they can actually keep going as well as they can for the time that they have left. And for many people, the health and well-being service is transformational, absolutely transformational in terms of helping them to become again what they once were prior to their illness. We do have an inpatient unit, which is where people come to us when they are sick, but many leave us after 2 weeks. So many people have the impression you come to a hospice to die. Yes, some people do, but most people come for symptom control. So there are volunteering opportunities with patients who are with us just for a short time. We also have an Admiral nurse service, which helps with dementia patients, and we have a 24-hour phone line for patients, carers, and clinicians. Much of our work, though, happens in the community. So we have nurses who go out to people in their own homes. We have frailty nurses who work with care homes in the local area. We have a dementia cafe. We have a number of hubs, exercise hubs across Hertfordshire. And we have a schools programme which helps children and school staff to understand more about palliative care. But the most important thing is the focus on the individual. And I just want to share Ahmed's story with you now, because I think it really helps you to understand the work that you may wish to support us with in the hospice. And I'm going to read his own words to you. "I was 45 years old when I suffered my first cardiac arrest, and I had several heart attacks in the following years. I started going downhill during lockdown, and my mental and physical health really suffered. I was struggling because I was doing no exercise and I was afraid to leave the house. The weekly strength and balance classes with the rehab and wellbeing team have been a godsend to me. I feel much more confident and am definitely getting stronger. Last year, we went on holiday with my grandchildren. I could hardly do anything, but this year it's a really different story. When my daughter asked the little ones, what was the best part of your holiday? They said, Grandad coming out. And that meant the world to me. So all of our opportunities are about supporting people to do the things that they want to do. And clearly, all of these services cost a great deal of money. So annually, we spend 6.5 million on supporting people both in the community and within the hospice itself. And without our volunteers, of whom we have over 800, we couldn't possibly do that. So volunteers support us in a huge amount of ways. They help at events, they become compassionate neighbours, they work in our shops, they help us with admin and with gardening. They work in our depot where all of our donations go by sorting, preparing, packing, driving, and they work on our online sales, which bring in a huge amount of our income. They also help us to fundraise, they help the family support team, they work on the inpatient unit, and they help friends of Garden House Hospice Care who run stalls, etc., at other people's events. And this just gives you a little bit of an idea as to why people volunteer. So at the moment, we need particularly volunteers to support us at an event, a Farmers on Christmas tour event. We need some temporary volunteers to help us in our shops. And in the new year, we're going to need a variety of people in our new depot. So we're opening a new, all-improved depot very near to the hospice, and we're going to be advertising very shortly for those volunteers. But we also need all of those other roles that I've explained to you. So hopefully that's been both of interest, but has also kind of whetted your appetite to become part of the Garden House Hospice Care story. So thank you very much for the time to speak with you today.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Amanda. So lots of different volunteering opportunities in a charity that does a lot of work with the local community. And yeah, I know a lot of people who think, oh, it's a hospice about people dying, it's going to be depressing. It sounds absolutely fantastic because you're helping to make people have the most they can get out of the life they've got, which is absolutely brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. So we look forward to seeing your new depot when it opens, because it's just around the corner from where I live.
Fantastic.
So perhaps I'll come and visit. So
brilliant.
Yeah, anyone interested in volunteering with the Garden House Hospice, the details are all in the chat. And any questions to Amanda, I'm sure she'll be happy to answer them. So thank you very much, Amanda. That's fantastic. Thank you. So next on our agenda today, we're going to hear from Shinny and Joanne, who are from InspireAll. So they're going to tell us about what their organisation is all about and what volunteering opportunities they have. So hello, I can see you're both there, Shinny and Joanne. Tell us what you're all about, please.
Good morning. Hi everybody, thank you so much for having us today. So my name's Jo Burgess, I'm one of the team leads in the Family Centre Service, and I'm joined by my colleague who will introduce herself. Oh, you're on mute, Shinny.
Sorry about that. Hello, I'm Shinny Shepherd.
Thank you, Shinny. And just following on, Amanda, your presentation was absolutely lovely, and I had a very dear friend who was cared for in the hospice, so I know the work you do. And I feel like, gosh, what a presentation to follow. But I just wanted to, this is the first one of these that we've been to. I wanted to introduce ourselves. We're the Hertfordshire Family Centre Service. We work with children and their families under 5, and then siblings within the family. The Family Centre Service is made up of public health nursing, and you'll probably know that team better as the term health visitors. So we work alongside our health visitors, and then we are the other side of that service. We're the family support service. The Family Support Service, I've been working within it for 15 years, and there is never a dull day, and no day is the same. We work with some amazing families, some amazing professionals, partners. We offer something for everyone. So we talk about our universal sessions as being for absolutely everyone. So any new mums, dads, grandparents, carers. We offer lots of different baby groups, active rhyme times, physical fun sessions. We also do first aid, adult learning, so we help parents back into work if should they wish to, additional training. to name but a few. We work with families from the antenatal period right the way through until their child starts school. So we're very, very proud of the work we do, and we're also very privileged to be part of that family's journey. Then we do slightly more targeted work. So with those families that need just a little bit of extra support, and something which we've seen very much coming out of COVID the last couple of years, we're seeing a lot of delayed development. We're seeing a lot of children who need support with their speech and language, and parents who are struggling with their well-being and feeling very isolated. So for those families, we offer a more targeted support, and we do that through very much smaller groups and much more tailored support, with those families being given a key worker within the service. So volunteers within our service, we have some amazing volunteers in all of our districts. We couldn't run without our volunteers. They're absolutely amazing, and they give their time to us and support those families. They offer that non-threatening kind of presence within our groups, I think. Many families have a wariness of professionals, and while we aim to be as relatable and as involved with families, having a volunteer in our sessions can really bring much more of a befriending type of opportunity for families. So we offer volunteering opportunities across the family centre, in our baby groups, where you might be in with families that have just had a new baby. So particularly, I think, if you're a parent or a grandparent, but you don't have to be a parent, but if you are a parent or a grandparent, I think that kind of hands-on knowledge is really valuable. We have our active rhyme time sessions. So again, being within that session, helping us sign parents in, keep everybody safe, and helping them to enjoy those stories and rhymes that we know are so important for children's development. And then we have our physical fun sessions, where the children are encouraged to get active, and parents too. And again, our volunteers within those sessions are helping to support those families to understand the importance of being healthy and keeping healthy, but also, again, just being there as that friendly face, that listening ear if needed. We also, within the Family Centre service, know that not everyone wants to work with children and families. So we offer administration roles, we offer gardening roles, anything and everything that helps us as a service, but ultimately helps that volunteer to either feel that they're giving something back, they're working within that community in which they live. And primarily for us, I guess, helping parents, new parents, to build up those skills for returning to work, or for many of the families we meet, actually having their first job. Many go from sort of leaving school to becoming a parent and do an amazing job. And when we speak to these mums, dads, they say they have no skills, but actually the skills they have as a parent are so transferable in terms of timekeeping, and just running, keeping everything going day to day. So whatever the reason for volunteering, we meet initially with the volunteer, we talk about what we can offer, and then we fit them in wherever they're, is a kind of more beneficial for them, but also for us as well. And then we work together hand in hand to help them have the best possible volunteering journey that they can do. I think that's probably everything. It's so lovely to be here today. I'd love to join more of these in the future. Shinny, was there anything that you wanted to add?
No, it's nothing. You covered comprehensively, Jo. Thank you.
Lovely. So Shinny and I are working together really hard to increase our number of volunteers. If you are aware of anybody that you think might like a chat with either of us, please do pass on our details. I'll pop our details in the chat. And obviously GoVol have all of our volunteering opportunities on their website as well. So please do direct families to those as well. Thank you so much for listening. Does anyone have any questions?
Please feel free to post questions in the chat if you don't want to ask them out loud in front of everybody, and we'll do our best to answer them. But thank you ever so much for that, Jo. That was great to hear about what you get up to. And it sounds like, you've got a volunteering role for people who want to do almost anything. I think that's the thing about volunteering, especially with some of our larger organisations. The smaller ones, perhaps not so much. But if you think, I'd really like to volunteer for this organisation, but the roles that you can see are not quite, oh, that doesn't quite suit me or it doesn't quite fit, please get in contact with the organisation, because I'm sure they'd love to have you as a volunteer. And maybe there's a niche you can fill, or maybe there's something they haven't thought about. Oh, well, we're not going to get anyone to volunteer who's got a really specific skill. Maybe you have that. Maybe actually you're going to be the perfect person for that volunteering role that doesn't even exist yet. It's quite exciting, really, isn't it? So, yeah, with any organisation, I think they would always be happy to have a volunteer, and where they can, they will do their best to find a little niche for you that really works for you and really works from them. So, with this, everyone's a winner, really, I think. All right, thank you ever so much, Joanne, and thank you, Shinny. And yeah, thanks for telling us about what you do and about your volunteering opportunities. It's always great to know what's going on. Okay, next on our agenda, we are running a little bit early, but I'm sure no one minds. We've got Louise, who's from the Watford and Three Rivers Trust.
Yes.
And I think you've got a few volunteering opportunities that you're looking for people for. So I look forward to hearing all about them. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen and then I'll introduce myself. Can everybody see that? Hopefully they can.
Yes, that's come up now.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Louise Day. I work for Watford and Three Rivers Trust as the Assistant Manager of the Community Wellbeing Team. You might never have heard of W3RT, you might never have heard of us, you might have heard of us as a CVS, but I'll give you a little bit of background into what the Community Wellbeing Team do. So we offer a range of different services for individuals in the local area. Obviously, both the services and our volunteering opportunities are for people based in Watford and Three Rivers. Obviously, if you are out of the area, you might still want to volunteer, but they are all happening typically in Watford and Three Rivers. So we offer the services that reduce social isolation, help people stay independent, improve wellness, and also just to have fun. We typically aim our services at over 55s, elderly and isolated. So you can see in our sessions, we've got some photos from in our clubs where we do chair-based exercise, we do crafting like knitting, and we've recently got some lovely Picassos painted by a volunteer who then we are sticking buttons on and doing a button art. And we also do other things like we get archery in, as you can see one of our members enjoying there. So in the Community Wellbeing Team, we're very focused on those kind of key elements of keeping people independent, keeping people having fun, and keeping people connected, which brings me on to some of the few volunteering opportunities that I do want to highlight today. The first is our community transport service, which is called Community Cars. There are other services like this in different areas. So there is one in Dacorum, there's one in North Hitchin. So there's lots of different ones all throughout Hertfordshire, but I'm here today to talk about Watford and Three Rivers Trust version. And essentially, it is a service for people in the local area that need support, who maybe can't access public transport due to mobility, due to mental health, and need that extra bit of support to get to either medical appointments like the doctor, the dentist, hospitals, or for things that are well-being related, e.g. social clubs. You need to get out to stay connected and stay engaged and not be lonely. You need to go to the hairdresser. It's the one thing you get to do once a month that makes you feel really good about yourself. Or even things like, there's one individual that we help with the community car service that is still able to go shopping but can't get herself to the shop. So one of our drivers will drive her to the shop. They'll both go off separately and do their own shopping, and then they'll bring them home. So there's lots of different reasons that people access community cars, but it's a really great service. You mean, if you like driving, it's a great way to get more in the car. It's a great way to get out and help other people. You'll also be chatting, you'll be making connections with a ton of different people each day that you volunteer. You do get reimbursement of 60 pence per mile, because we do understand it's not just your time you're giving up when you're using your car. You know, you are paying for petrol every time, and that's very expensive nowadays. So we do reimburse 60 pence per mile, and it's a totally flexible scheme between Monday and Friday, 9 till 6. They are the hours we typically operate. We occasionally do a weekend journey, but because a team of actual staff don't work on a weekend, we don't like to leave a volunteer with no one to access. It's only if we know 100% the volunteer is happy and the client is happy. But just some quotes that we have. One is from a service user, which says, "It means the world to me. Otherwise, I would not get out anywhere." So it's a really vital service. I mean, I don't know across the rest of Hertfordshire, but especially in Watford and Three Rivers, there have been cuts to public transport. I live in Three Rivers district, and I know the bus I used to get when I was young and didn't drive doesn't run anymore. And so for older people who can't access driving or transport, it's a really vital service. And actually, a quote from one of our volunteer drivers who volunteers very, very regularly as a driver. They actually started with us in 2020 during COVID-19, and they've stayed with us since then, is, "I enjoy every minute. The users are so grateful and it makes journeys worthwhile." So because you have that face-to-face time in the car with the clients, you really get to understand them, know why they're using the service, and you actually get to understand why it's so important for them as well. So if you are interested, it is obviously on GoVolHerts, so please do head to the website. We're more than willing to chat about any questions or queries you have, and we'd be really thankful if anybody's interested. But we do know not everybody's interested in driving or doesn't drive, or it's just not for them. So we also have another service, which is our digital inclusion service. Obviously, I'm sure everybody's aware when COVID happened, suddenly it became massively more digital. People were Zoom calling, you were FaceTiming, you were doing online quizzes. And obviously for lots of people, that is really simple. It's what they do every day at work. They've grown up with it. But for others, it really isn't that simple. And it's something that can really isolate people if you're housebound or you don't have that skill or knowledge. Knowing where to start and knowing how to even get online when there are so many risks is a really big deal. So there is a digital inclusion service. Again, this does run throughout Hertfordshire. So if you're not based in Watford and Three Rivers, there are other services, so you could get in touch with me and I can refer you on to support those other services as well. But it's really to help people if they need support doing online shopping. Example, Morrison's still doing a telephone service, which came out during COVID, but some people want that independence to do it themselves. Some people want to know how to Zoom call their family or their relatives. And something we notice with referrals is that people feel they feel bad asking their relatives or their friends for support because they might not get it the first time and they don't want to take up too much of their time. So they're really grateful to have volunteers that can kind of help build their confidence and build their learning and spend that either one-to-one or group. We do offer either version, both for the benefit of the volunteer and for the client, and kind of build their confidence. And it's a really worthwhile opportunity because you kind of go in with a goal that both you want to achieve and the client wants to achieve. And over the sessions, you kind of get to that and you get to the point where they know how to send an email completely alone. They don't need your support, and you kind of go, "I've done my bit here and I can move on." And we actually spoke to one of our recent volunteers. He signed up in September and has done several group sessions and several one-to-one sessions with us now. And he gave us a lovely quote about why he volunteers and what he gets out of it. So, "I have this great opportunity to help and support people in my local community, whilst they are learning or relearning how to use digital equipment that they have. I am hopefully making them feel more comfortable and safe using these devices. Seeing them learning this, no matter what their age or experience, is what makes it worthwhile." So it's a really great opportunity to utilize your own knowledge and skills and implement training for other people that will greatly benefit being able to just stay more connected, be more independent. And obviously, like I say, it's a great way to set yourself a target with that individual and get to the end goal, and it's a success for both of you. We obviously then also do a lot of different things, as I kind of mentioned, about what the community wellbeing team do. And I just want to highlight briefly some other volunteering opportunities. So we have our club helpers that support our getting together clubs, which are social clubs that run Monday to Friday. Basically, you'd be coming in for a chat, making some cups of teas, and if you wanted participating in some of the activities like curling, chair-based exercise, anything like that. So that's a really flexible Monday to Friday based volunteering role. We also have collection and delivery and personal shopping volunteers. These services came out of COVID when it first happened, when people really couldn't get out, when people were having to self-isolate and they couldn't get their prescriptions, they couldn't get their personal shops. But obviously, for a lot of us, things went back to the new normal. But for some people, they are still housebound, they are still incredibly isolated, and they don't have that ability to get out. So we offer a service where a volunteer would go out and collect their prescription, or a volunteer would go out and get their shopping for them. And again, that's a great opportunity if maybe you work 9 to 5 and you want to do something just one evening, once a week. You're going and doing your own shop, you're going to the pharmacy for your own prescription, you can grab that on the way and just go and drop it off. And then also, I'm aware it's winter, the days are getting dark very early, and we also have our befriending service. So if you were more inclined to volunteer from home, our befriending service is supporting isolated, vulnerable, housebound people by giving them a call on a weekly, a fortnightly, or a monthly basis. So it'll be a half an hour once a week, once a fortnight, or once a month, just to check in, have a little chat with the individual to make them feel less alone and make them feel like they have a friend on the other end of the phone. So that's another opportunity. All of these are live on GoVolHerts, so please do go and check it out. If you have any questions about any of the opportunities, please do let me know. And if there is any questions right now, I'd be more than happy to answer any of them. And I'll stop sharing so I can see everybody again.
Thank you very much, Louise. That was great. And as Louise did say, if those opportunities are interesting to you, but you don't live in the Watford and Three Rivers area, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you if you live near the Watford and Three Rivers area. But if you are in a very different part of the county, and we know Hertfordshire is a big funny shaped county, there are projects in other parts of the county. They won't be exactly the same, but we do have the community car driving service in other parts of the county, and digital inclusion certainly. But what else is offered in parts of the county might differ. So if you are interested, Louisa said, feel free to contact her, and obviously feel free to contact us at GoVolHerts, and we'll do our best to point you in the right direction. But that's great. Thank you, Louise, for telling us everything going on down the Three Rivers. Thank you for joining us today. Okay. So next up, we were due to be joined by Joanne King from the National Youth Advocacy Service, who are a national organisation, obviously advocating for young people. But we've just heard from her, and unfortunately she's not able to join us today. So hopefully we'll move on to the next organisation on our agenda. So that is Mike from the Lawn Tennis Association. So sorry to bring you in a little bit early, but I think Lawn Tennis Association we've heard of perhaps in association with Wimbledon, but what else are you doing? Please enlighten us all, Mike.
Yeah, thank you very much. No problem. Just scrambling to get the slides on. Here we go. Can you see that okay?
Yes, we can see that.
Just there we go. Yes, so thank you for the introduction. Thanks for all the presentations so far. Very interested listening into all of them. Yes, so I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about tennis. So I work for the Lawn Tennis Association, LTA for short. So yes, you probably have heard of us in relation to Wimbledon mostly, but we are the national governing body for tennis across Britain. So we govern tennis across the country, from grassroots all the way up to the professional level. So certainly not just the Wimbledon side of things. And I'm here today to talk to you specifically about free park tennis, which is a new program which we've developed specifically for park venues, as you can guess from the title. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about that, and then following on from that, just introduce some of the volunteering opportunities that we have to hopefully allow you to help us deliver this new exciting idea into tennis in parks. So just a little bit of background to start off with, in terms of why we've developed this program. So you may think of tennis as, being connected to Wimbledon, as you mentioned, being connected to, exclusive venues like clubs and places like that. But in fact, parks are the most common place that people play tennis across the country, more common than any other venue type. So from that stat on the left, you can see there. and it's most common for people to play there socially with friends and family. But also we've identified there are a number of barriers which prevent people who might be interested in playing tennis from actually getting involved. So those ones mainly being around not having somebody to play with, not being able to afford it, not being able to find a court in the first place, or maybe not having the equipment they need to play. So really all of those kind of bits of information have led us to develop a program specifically to try and address those and get more people active in parks where there are tennis courts. So this is what we've come up with. It's called Free Park Tennis, and it's a free weekly 1 hour long session on Saturday or Sunday mornings. So think of it a bit like park run, I guess, but for tennis. It's for anybody to get involved with. It can run all year round. So we do have sessions running all throughout the winter as well. People are very keen to play tennis once they get involved, even if the weather's not amazing. And they're run by activators, which is where hopefully you guys come in and where we're looking for volunteers. So it's free for everybody to book and attend, and the sessions are run by a minimum of 2 activators who coordinate the activities. So it's important to say it's not a coached session. So you don't need, as I'll come on to shortly, you don't need any tennis playing experience to get involved with this. It's much more of a coordinated activity, helping people get involved and try tennis for the first time, really. In terms of where it can run, anywhere really in a park setting that has at least 2 courts. Quite flexible really, and sessions are designed for all ages, all abilities. Any children under 13 do have to be joined on the session by an adult. So in terms of the actual volunteering opportunity, this is the kind of person we're looking for, I suppose, and the process to get to getting involved with these sessions. So as I said, you don't need to be a tennis player, definitely not. You do, I suppose, need to be good with people and really enjoy interacting with people. Should have some good communication skills in there. It's basically around organising a group of people to complete some tennis activities. So we want people who are enthusiastic, really keen, really excited about getting people active, getting people physically active on the tennis courts. Any groups of people would be great as well in terms of this opportunity, who might be linked in with local community groups, or have that connection to local residents in the local community that's going to help encourage more people onto the tennis courts and get involved. We provide free training, so anybody who's a little bit unsure about what it might involve, or be concerned that they don't have the skills or the experience to run something like this, there's a free online training session which we provide, including all of the content for the sessions, everything you need to know. And then we also encourage anybody new to go and shadow an existing session just to get a feel for what it's all about and learn from existing activators who are already doing it. The other things in terms of requirements are you do need to be 18 plus and complete a DBS check in order to run the sessions. And then you'll be a part of that small team that's running those sessions on a weekly basis, and responsible for taking the registers and things like that and making sure equipment and everything is there, which I'll come on to shortly. So we'll support you all the way through every process to becoming an activator for these sessions. And that culminates in us sending out equipment bags. So we provide all the balls, rackets, and everything you need to run the sessions. So none of that needs to be provided by the volunteers. And we also give you a nice hoodie to kind of identify yourself as the leader for the session, as the activator. And we send those out to order. So you select your size and everything as you go through the training process. In terms of benefits and what you might kind of get out of the experience, I mean, I think there's been a common theme throughout all the presentations so far today around giving back to the community, and the kind of real kind of good sense that gives people who are getting involved in volunteering opportunities. So I suppose specifically to this, whilst it's tennis, it's physical activity at heart. It's not really sport specific in terms of some of the activities that are happening in the sessions. So really about encouraging residents in your local community near to the park that you might be familiar with to get active, get more physically active on the courts, with all the kind of physical and mental health benefits that we know that can bring. And then the added bonus of, being part of a team, potentially being able to develop some employability skills, depending on the type of people getting involved. And then a little bit that people that has been put in gold at the bottom there as a kind of a special benefit, I suppose, in that we do have a ballot for Wimbledon tickets for volunteers who get involved with this. So if anybody's tried to get Wimbledon tickets before, it can be very difficult to get hold of them. They're in very high demand. So a nice little bonus there to have a chance to get some tickets to go and watch the championships as well. So finally, this is where we need volunteers. So we need you, anybody you may know who might be interested in this kind of thing. Maybe not passionate about tennis specifically, maybe not be a tennis player, but somebody who's passionate about getting people physically active. We are looking for volunteers all across Hertfordshire. So anywhere where there is a tennis venue within a park with at least 2 courts, but specifically those areas listed there. So Stevenage, Bishop Stortford, Bushey, Hemel Hempstead, Watford, and all the way across Three Rivers district as well. There are sites that are actively looking to start sessions. So any volunteers in those areas be very, very well received. You can find out more. I'm sure there'll be a link in the chat. There's a link there as well. You can just Google LTA Free Park Tennis and you'll find all the information there. And my email address is at the bottom there as well. So if you want to know any more information or want to find out a little bit more before you sign up, I'm always happy to speak to anybody and answer any questions. And of course, take any questions now if anyone has any. But thanks very much for your time. My first time on this, and I've enjoyed it and enjoyed listening to the other presentations as well.
That's great. Thank you ever so much, Mike. So we've all learned a bit more about what you're doing and where we might be able to go to play some free tennis and find some other people. Like you said, that's sometimes the difficult thing. You can't play tennis against yourself very easily, I don't think. So great opportunities there. And I guess if anyone knows any courts that might be good for you to use, that would be another thing to ask about if you want to volunteer. I think we've put Mike's information in the chat, so please do get in touch, and maybe we'll have some future Wimbledon stars coming from Hertfordshire. We are running a bit early now because we had one organisation who couldn't join us. So for next, we are going to hear from Joanne Riley in a few moments. And she's from, I would just say, the organisation formerly known as Ryder, because they've just had a rebrand. And I'm sure Joanne will tell us about this. And then after that, we should have an organisation called Space to tell us about what they do, because they're not an organisation I know very much about at the minute. So looking forward to learning that. We're hoping that Family Action will be joining us after that, followed by Carers in Hertfordshire, and then we've got the MND Association, and just to finish off the day, we've got Pumpkins Wildlife Hospital telling you about all their animal caring opportunities. So thank you to everyone who's presented so far. Really interested in what everyone is doing, and hopefully some of you have found some volunteering opportunities that might work for you. Contact details have all been put in the chat. If you've got any questions or need any help, please contact us here at GoVolHerts. We will do our best to help you or point you in the right direction, whatever you may need. So I can see Joanne's there patiently waiting to tell us all about the exciting things that are going on with the organisation formerly known as Ryder, which I guess is the name a lot of people know, but you've now rebranded even to become Brainkind. So I'm sure you're going to tell us a little bit about that, as well about the fantastic volunteering opportunities that I know you have out there at Stagenhoe. All right, it's all yours, Joanne.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for inviting me here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you absolutely fine, Joanne.
Wonderful. We have a few IT issues at the moment from a transition, so I'll explain to you a little bit about myself, and then the exciting news about our branding, our new branding. So I'm Joanne Riley. I'm the volunteer coordinator here at Stag and Hoe Neurological Centre in St Paul's Warden. So that's just off of Hitchin there. You'll probably know us as Sue Ryder. So Sue Ryder not only had palliative and care and hospices, but they also had 4 neurological care centres in the UK. Now, Sue Ryder made the decision a few months back that they were going to concentrate more on the grief and the palliative care side of it, and we're going to move the move the neurological side to it, to another charity called Brainkind. So we are really, really excited. So as from last week, we were no longer Sue Ryder. We're having a little bit of confusion answering the phones. So we are now Brainkind. Brainkind now, us joining Brainkind makes them one of the UK's leading neurological charities. So it's a really, really exciting time. It's an exciting time for staff, it's an exciting time for residents, and it's really exciting as well for volunteers that are coming on board and on this journey with us as well. So who are Brainkind? So just to confuse you even more, you may have heard of the Disabilities Trust. So Disabilities Trust have been running for over about 40 years. And they've had the rebranding, and that's where the name Brainkind comes in. So it's not a new organisation, it's just a new name. So they have a network of services across the UK that support people with acquired brain injuries and other neurological conditions too. So Brainkind has a network of neurological centres, assessment centres, rehab centres, supported living homes, and they've also just about to open a brand new hospital in York. So if you do get the chance, have a little look on the Brainkind website, because it's fantastic. They're also working very, very closely with the government as well, and being advising the government on some of the issues that some of our individuals have in the neurological centres. So they're very, very exciting times for us, and we'd love to bring on some new volunteers to join us and to continue that journey, ensuring that our amazing residents here receive the best support and care that they can have. So for those that have never been to Stag and Hoe is a beautiful stately home. It's on the Bowes Lion estate. It's beautiful, beautiful grounds. I have to say that I'm probably one of the nicest offices. It might not look at it at the moment, but the views from outside my window are absolutely stunning. And we have amazing residents in our 45-bedded centre here. So residents permanently reside here. It isn't a rehab. So we've had residents here that have been here, I think our longest resident that's been here the longest has been here 40 years. And we've got people that are coming in the service at the moment. So we've currently got 45 rooms within Stag and Hoe that are used. So some of the degenerative conditions that we see here are multiple sclerosis, motor neuron disease, Huntington's disease, and also we have residents with acquired brain and spinal injuries. Stag and Hoe is an absolutely fantastic place to volunteer. Like I said, we've got some of the most amazing residents who unfortunately find themselves in one of the most difficult times of their lives. You know, they've had great careers. We've got a lovely lady here that used to run hotels in London, and now she's got a degenerative condition, and she finds herself here. So we try to make our residents' lives as normal as we possibly can, and we can't do that without our volunteers. So we have volunteers that are on board that we range from everything from befrienders to drivers to bedroom organisers. Now, I never say to anybody, right, okay, we have only got these places, a gardener or maintenance. We will look at an individual's skills, what they like, what their passion is, and we'll create something for an individual. Not everybody is good at crafting and making cards, or not everybody's as confident in speaking as others. So let's find out what you like to do. Let's find out what suits you. It's not always about what we gain from this. We know what we gain from volunteers. We gain so much. We couldn't run without our volunteers here. But for us, it's actually, what do our volunteers get to? What do our volunteers? There's some amazing skills out there, and that enhances the work that we do here. So it's really, really important that we listen to each individual and then decide what is available at Stag and Hoe for you or somebody that you know to volunteer doing. We've got a lady that recently come on board that she teaches Qigong. So she comes now and she teaches Qigong to our residents, and she adapts it for our residents too, because that's a passion that she has. We have a lady that has her own hairdressing salon in Kimpton. So she comes in and does free haircuts for our residents. We have somebody that just loves reading, so they come in and they befriend our residents, and they sit there and they just read. Just because somebody can't communicate, and especially with our residents, not all of them can communicate, not all of them are verbal, but they can still listen, they still can communicate in some way. And it's really, really important that we continue with that. And staff just don't always have the time to have those one-to-one sessions. So that's why we're always asking for volunteers. And it's, like I say, for the longevity of volunteering, it's really, really important that it fits in with what you do, fits in with the individual and what's important with them. I'll give you an example. We've got a gentleman called Rex. Rex, his wife was a resident here, and she passed away just over a year ago. So what does Rex get out of it? Well, Rex is giving back. He promised that for the 4 years that we looked after his wife, that he would give back to volunteering. And that's what Rex gets from it, which is really, really important that he gets something from it. We have George, now he's 87. He said that he can't physically keep coming into the centre. So we thought, right, okay, what does George like to do? George is a carpenter, so he has his own workroom. So George takes our benches and our bird tables back, and he uses his skills to renovate and improve and repair things in his own space. So that's just an example of how we can create roles as well. Bob and Chris, a couple of a husband and wife couple here that had their own gardening business. So they finished with their gardening business and retired, and they wanted to continue. They wanted to be active, so they come and do the garden here for us. So just a few examples of what opportunities we have and what what the volunteers actually get from it too. We also have an activities team here that create wonderful activities Monday to Friday. So that can be Fight Club. When I say Fight Club, I'm not talking, we haven't got our residents punching each other. We work closely with the physios. So it's all about the physical, the abilities. We have cooking, we have arts and crafts. Maybe you like cooking. Maybe you'd like to come and do a session with our residents. Some of our residents can't take part in the cooking, but they still can take part in the sensory side. So smelling of ingredients, tasting of ingredients, or just taking part and listening. We have karaoke days, and Friday is the best day ever here. So this is where we turn Stag and Hoe into Stag and Spoons. Okay, just because you have a condition, just because, why can't you go to the pub? So we bring the pub to our residents. So we transform our room on a Friday to the Stag and Spoons. So our residents get the chance to have their favourite tipple. Obviously, if they can't have alcohol, then there's alcohol-free versions. And it's just a fantastic opportunity to bring some normality into our residents' lives. And a Friday is definitely the day that they all look forward to. What I would say with any volunteering opportunities here, due to our location, we are remote. The transport links aren't wonderful. So I am being honest with you here. So you will need to be a driver, or at least have somebody that can bring you in and take you back. Because just even though we do have buses that run into the local village, just the walk up the drive here is nearly a mile. So in wind and rain, you know, you're really going to need that transport. So how do you apply? So go on the volunteer website. As we previously talked about, we are under Sue Ryder at the moment. That will change, and you'll start seeing the Brainkind logos. The volunteering positions don't change, so everything remains the same. It's only going to be the charity that is changing, but it's business as usual here. Once I get the requests through GoVolunteer, I'll give you a call. I'll invite you over. Come and meet some of our residents. Come and have a cup of coffee. Come and have a look around our absolutely amazing grounds. Volunteers really are the heart of Stag and Hoe, and without you, we couldn't do what we do. Not just that, you'll get the chance as a volunteer to take part in some of our wonderful, wonderful events that we have. We have Christmas events, so we've got one coming up this Saturday. Actually, we've got a Christmas market that we're holding at Stag and Hoe. We have other social events like Christmas meals. We have thank you events, and you could be a part of that events team as well. So if that's something that you really like to do, fireworks, Halloween, you name it. We bring it to Stag and Hoe. So it's a real fun, great opportunity. Volunteers are never expected to be out of pocket. So we'll always expect you to claim anything back, so whether that's mileage, if you're really having difficulty getting in and you do need a taxi back, we're looking into that as well. If you're here over the lunchtime period, come and have lunch with us. We've got our own kitchen here. So, and you wouldn't be expected to pay for that either. That's part of the perks of being a volunteer. So you can come and have lunch with the rest of the staff and the residents. So that's all from me, and I do apologise that I haven't got a PowerPoint. Unfortunately, our IT systems have been down for a week and a half because of the crossover, so I haven't been able to do a lot. We've only just got the systems up and running. But if any of you have got any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them for you.
Thank you ever so much, Joanne, for explaining about the not quite a rebranding, a bit of a changeover there, I think.
Bit confusing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's confusing for you, especially. GoVolHerts did go out to Stag and Hoe in the summer. We visited Joanne and met some of the residents out there. It's an absolutely lovely place. Yeah, like you say, it was a long drive. But the work they're doing there is absolutely fantastic, because I just thought to myself, if I was one of the residents and perhaps you can't communicate in the same way I am here with you, it must be really frustrating when you're to an extent stuck inside your own head. So having someone just to come and talk to you or make you a drink or something, it's going to make a huge difference to people's lives, because these people might live for years and years, but it's quality as well as quantity, really, isn't it? So they do absolutely fantastic work up at Stag and Hoe, and a great variety of volunteering opportunities. As we've said, with so many of the other organisations, they can put up volunteering roles that they sort of have, but they're all happy to work as far as possible to try and find something that suits you if you'd like to volunteer with that organisation. And thank you also, Joanne, for mentioning expenses, because something we do say that the volunteers should not be out of pocket, and all good organisations will be more than happy to reimburse you, because volunteering shouldn't just be for someone who's rich enough to get themselves here, there and everywhere. It should be for anyone, because everyone's got skills which can be really, really valuable in a volunteering role, and we shouldn't put barriers in that place. So thank you for letting us know everything that's going on, Joanne, and about your fantastic volunteering opportunities. Okay, next on the agenda, I think we have Nikki from Space, who has joined us. So an organisation I can't say I know anything about at the moment, but I'm sure that's going to change in the next 10 minutes. Thank you, Nikki.
No pressure there then.
No, not at all.
Hi, so I'm Nikki and I'm from the charity Space. So this is our first time. We're only recently just joined up to this forum, so it's great to be here. Apologies, I've missed some of the earlier ones. We were literally out in the community over in Watford, so we had to dash back to be online. So apologies, I've missed some of the earlier presentations. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen if that's all right. So hopefully you'll get to see our presentation. 1 second. Oh, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. Are we allowed to share this
Just
screen?
moved to a co-host, so you should be
Okay. Let's see. I think, can everybody see that? Is that come up for everybody?
Yes, I can see that. Thanks, Nikki.
Wonderful. I think we're just trying to turn it into a slideshow. Perfect. Okay, so volunteering with space. So first of all, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what space is, because I appreciate maybe not everybody's even heard of us. So we're a Hertfordshire-based charity, and basically our role, or what we do, is we support families that are raising neurodivergent young people. So that could be autism, ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and it could be at any point. We're very much a needs-led charity. So if parent carers feel that they have a need and they can access things from our charity, they are absolutely welcome to join and access what we offer. So that is quite important, because very often our families are faced with having to fill out forms, jump hurdles, prove diagnoses, and it can be quite an arduous journey. So we are very much passionate about being needs-led. The vast majority of our team are actually parent carers ourselves. We are experts by experience. We are very much walking the walk with the families in which we support. So I'm going to give a little bit of a talk about how we give that support and where we need the sort of like volunteers and help to help us do what we do. So basically, as I've just said, we're a Hertfordshire-based charity, and we're supporting parents and carers of children and young people that are autistic, ADHD or other neurodiverse conditions. We're needs-led, and our aim is to promote inclusion, reduce isolation, and help those families build that sort of like confidence and of resilience and feel empowered to do what they're doing, to have that understanding of what's going on with their young person, and to be able to navigate the world in which they've just found themselves in. So that's kind of like our drive, if you like, our passion. We support in so many different ways, and this is forever growing, because we're very much react to what our families need. So support is a huge element of what we do. So to that end, we have parent carer support groups running each month in term time. That's in Hoddesdon, Welling and Croxley. We have a starting space for people that are very, very new on their journey. We have an intensive family support working team that work with our families. All of this is actually free for families to access. There's no cost involved. So they can come along to a support group. They can access our family support team. They can join our Facebook group, which now at the moment has 9,000 members. So you can see the sheer volume of need within Hertfordshire. And again, they can connect with emails. There's lots and lots of support they can access. And again, all of that is free of charge. Another important component of what we do is actually our workshops, conferences. And this allows parent carers to actually really get to grips and understand what might be going on with their young person. Again, this is all free for families to parent carers to attend. Majority of the time, this is delivered online. COVID taught us a lot about delivery systems, and we do find that a lot of people actually find it much more accessible to do these online, as opposed to having to find childcare and get to a location. This will just give you some example of some of the workshops we do. There's a huge amount more, and this is forever developing. So that will just give you just a little snapshot of what we do. Now, this is the big strand, and this is where we really, really need our volunteer support to enable us to do what we do. It's our actual socialising, it's our events and activities, it's access into the community. We have a huge amount of activities that are running throughout the year. In fact, last year we calculated we did 300 events and activities for our families. So if you work that out, that's not short of one a day that we were running. And that is all over Hertfordshire, and they all look very, very different. So we could have trampoline parks, we could have Lego clubs, it could be animal encounters, it could be aerial gymnastics, we do driving experiences, we do roller skating, a huge amount more. Golf has been added to our offer. We have a local allotment in Ware, so we have space to grow sessions. And this, again, is forever developing. But you can imagine having 300 activities running a year in all parts of Hertfordshire, how that really does need the support. And we absolutely treasure our volunteers, particularly say across the county, to allow us to be able to set all these activities and events up. We do like the idea of having regular things, and some of our things are regular. So things could be like driving, it's the first and third Saturday of the month, aerial gymnastics, second Saturday of the month. So there's a regular pattern. And if we have a team of volunteers that actually know, so we know logistically those people are taking care of running that activity and supporting, then that's, you know, absolutely fantastic. And it means we can add more things. Hertfordshire is actually a geographically well spread out area. So to that end, obviously having volunteers living in various parts of Hertfordshire is absolutely asset, because it means we can run more and more activities in various parts of Hertfordshire. We do find a lot of our families aren't able to drive or don't travel, or aren't able to travel if their young person can't take public transport. There are a lot of barriers to access. So the more activities, the more infrastructure we have, the more widespread we can be on Hertfordshire, that families have more local accessibility to activities, if that makes sense. So that just gives you a glimpse of some of the things we do. So what do we do? So why volunteer with us? So basically, to volunteer with us, we help the neurodiverse children and young people, and it makes a real difference within our community. It does make an absolute difference to people's lives. I can't tell you how isolating some of our families feel if their young person isn't able to access general mainstream activities. You find more and more parents just withdraw into themselves. They don't go out anymore, which has a massive impact on them as a family, to the siblings. They just become more and more isolated and cut off from their community, because they feel that accessing the community, people don't understand, or it's not geared for their young people. A lot of our parent carers unfortunately get a lot of tutting, eye rolls, unsolicited comments. So it can be really difficult for them. So they need safe places to go where there's understanding and the event and activity is tailored so that the young person feels supported and has a good time. So having those volunteers support those activities makes a world of difference to those families. We work as a part of team. In fact, our thing is, we do say we are team space. So we are very much work with each other to support families. You absolutely learn new skills and gain valuable experience. A lot of our parent carers do come to us to volunteer that are actually parent carers themselves, because they then have gained that knowledge and experience and want to give back. I know the lady spoke earlier, there is a lot of feeling of wanting to give back. Or you may be so far down the line with your young person that you feel in a place that you're able then to help others, which is a lovely way to do it. Or other people just come to us and learn as they go. It might be an experienced world they've not been part of, but they absolutely want to learn. So that is, and it's supporting the community, and we have really great access and links with our local community, because that's so important. For example, this coming Thursday, I'm working with Asda in Ware, and we're doing independent shopping. So some of our young people obviously find it quite traumatic or quite difficult, the sensory environment, and having that independence to go and do some shop. So we're working with Asda in a quiet time with supported staff, with a designated till, so our young people get that experience of actually being able to go out and do some shopping themselves within the supportive framework. So we're constantly putting in more initiatives like that and working with our community. So being part of that, and it's not just the one-off thing, because it goes on, it has longevity, because this can be repeated in other stores. It's got that sort of like lifelong factor, legacy, if you like. It's moving and working closely with our communities to make them better places long-term, not just for that one isolated event. So that is something we do. So in terms of what else our volunteers are, they're passionate, obviously, about working with children and supporting families. That's kind of like crucial, that passion to want to do what you want. Of course, we need that reliability and punctuality, because it's an event we're expecting, particularly with autistic people, that, you know, they find the reliability and the predictability really important to them. Team players, absolutely. As I say, we are team space. Open and willing to learn. We have, you know, we absolutely want to instill, and we have a fantastic training program for our volunteers, which I can obviously on a one-to-one discuss in much more detail. Ready to muck in. We all do muck in, so we have various things. So a Lego club, some of us might be setting up some Lego, some might be making teas and coffees, some might be interacting with the young people. So we've got that real sense of mucking in, and we all muck in together. It's that part of thing. Kind but professional. So we do have to have that professional ethos, but we are kind and approachable, and that's really important, that we want to make our families feel safe, nurtured, and they're in a safe place, because obviously when they're accessing things, their experiences might not have always that they've been met with kindness. So that's something that's really key to what we do as well. I'm going to skip this one because I know I'm conscious we only do have the 10 minutes and I don't want to throw too much information at you. So we can talk a little bit more. If anybody's interested, I can pick up a little bit more on a one-to-one with anybody if they're interested. We always say as well, our volunteers bring some fantastic ideas, and it's fantastic that they can come and say, oh, have you thought about this? Or I went into a particular place and they did really well. Perhaps you can have talks with them. So we are absolutely always open for volunteers bringing ideas to think, oh, have you tried this? Could we approach this? What about bringing this in? You know, it's all part of the growth mindset that we want to do. So we do absolutely encourage that. You can volunteer on an ad hoc basis. So we might have the one-off things that people just want to do, or something that's a more regular. Like I mentioned, we do, say, drive-in on the first and third Saturday of the month. So there's that regular type commitment that we can do for volunteering, as well as just ad hoc. We do the wonderful Ware annual duck race. So we obviously want all hands on deck for that. So that could be just one-off community events or regular commitments. We do give training, as I mentioned. So this is here, it's our dedicated community and volunteer manager is always available for support and advice. That's me. I am always available. I'm the community engagement. So I'm absolutely always there to help and support our volunteers. And you'll only ever be asked to do what you are comfortable with. We absolutely know if you're very new to the world of neurodiversity, little steps, baby steps, so you're never going to be pushed outside your comfort zone. It very much is a supportive, embracing environment, and we don't ask anything that you're not comfortable at a pace you are ready to do. So that is something I wanted to highlight. So, okay, this is what our volunteers say, and I think this is really lovely, and I always look back on this one. The smiles on the kids' faces just mean so much. It makes my heart sing. How lovely is that? Loads of lovely feedback we had, but we wanted to capture. I can't tell you how much I love volunteering, and I try to be available as much as I can. Each time I volunteer, I always come away so happy. It gives me an enormous sense of pride. So some really, really lovely feedback from our volunteers. And it really is, teamwork makes the dream work. We couldn't do what we do to the level we do without our volunteer people, you know, pitching in, helping, supporting, helping us run events. They're so crucial to what we do. Okay, so this is the bit. So if you're interested, absolutely, if you email into admin@SpaceHeart, please do have a little look on our website. Have a little look. We do have a public page as well, Space Hertfordshire public Facebook page. Please, by all means, have a little look through, see what we do, get an idea. You'll see all the pictures up of our events, and they say a picture says 1,000 words, doesn't it? So please do have a little look on what we do, and if that interests you, think, oh, absolutely, this could make my heart sing, I would like to be involved in that, then please do. The formal bit I've got to say, because obviously we're working with children and young people, we are a safer recruiter with our volunteers as well as our staff. So to that end, we do carry out the DBS checks, because obviously having contact with young people. So I wanted to do the formal bit. The other formal bit, which we mentioned here, expenses, absolutely. We do pay expenses. Our volunteers should not have to go to any expenses. We meet mileage costs or any costs incurred. So again, I can talk more on a one-to-one if anybody's interested on that. But they're the two little bit of formal bits I wanted to sort of like hand over there. Don't know if we can do this, if it'll play or not. I just wanted to give you a quick... I'm going to ask my assistant over here. Will it say? Oh, it does. I just wanted to show this little bit we did. stop the share now.
Thank you ever so much, Nikki. That was really, really interesting. Obviously, lots of different opportunities, the amazing amount of activities going on. So,
Oh, yes.
definitely something going on there.
There's certainly a lot of activities.
Yeah, it's great how much we're understanding and perhaps appreciating that people are different, and that's fine. That's good. We need to be different. It's no fun if everyone is all the same.
Absolutely.
But being able to support people who are different and support their families and make them feel like they're not alone and make sure they're supported. And I can imagine the siblings, if you've got a child who isn't comfortable going out where it's noisy and crowded, I can sympathise with that. I don't like noisy, crowded places.
Me neither.
So if you've got one child who's taking a lot of your attention just because they've got slightly different needs, it can be quite hard on the siblings, I think. So it's
absolutely
the families like that, and hopefully also giving people in the world an appreciation that not everyone is the same. And if you see someone with a child in the supermarket having a tantrum, they're not necessarily naughty, maybe they just can't cope. So
yeah, they might be having a meltdown, they're totally overwhelmed by the sensory environment, they're just not able to cope, and so it's a reaction to their sensory environment. And yeah, it's spreading that understanding, isn't it, and working with people in the community as well to make it much more embracing of neurodiversity. So yeah, that's kind of like a champion message we send.
Always be kind to everyone, as it was recently National Kindness Day.
Kindness, so, absolutely.
I think that's a message everyone could do with. So thank you so much for that, Nikki.
No, thank you for inviting me to share.
Good luck with finding volunteers, and it sounds absolutely fantastic, the work you're doing. So thank you ever so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now managing to run just a few minutes late, but never mind. We've still got some great charities to hear from, and I'm just looking at my screen. Have we got Janet from Family Action here? Or no, she couldn't. I think perhaps she was running a bit late or wasn't sure she could make it, but I can see we have got Julie, who's from Carers in Hertfordshire. So Julie, would you like to tell us about Carers in Hertfordshire and about your volunteering opportunities? You're on mute, Julie.
Right, okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah?
We can hear you, Julie, yes.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me along today. I'm Julie from Carers in Hertfordshire. Just a little bit of background about the charity. Those of you that don't know about us, we're a charity that provide advice, information and support to unpaid carers. That is people that look after someone who is elderly, disabled, a physical, mental illness, or misuses drugs or alcohol. We support all adults and children that live or work in Hertfordshire, and all our services are free. So it could be that I myself, my dad lives in London, but I would still be supported because I'm a carer for him. So a lot of people ask us that. So that's, we're there for people that live or work. Sorry, there's someone saying about someone to be admitted. Hello, Vanessa, sorry. Oh, okay, I'll carry on. Sorry, I don't know what happened there on my screen. So at the moment, we're looking for volunteers, and we've had a lot of volunteers in the past that have come to us. They may have had a little bit of a gap. They may have brought children up and they want to get back into work. So and our office is in Hertford. So we have a lot of people coming in and giving us that support within the office environment. And then after 6 months, we would write them a reference and they would go on to work. And we've had some really great success stories, which is great. They're here to support us, and we're there to support them, and that's what we want to be able to do. We do have some long-standing volunteers as well that come along and are there for like 6, 7, 8 years. Our longest standing volunteer is over 10 years with us, and I've been with the charity 9 years, which is fantastic. So hopefully we're giving the support and that volunteer and to people to come along and help us. So at the moment, the two roles that we're looking for are based in the Hertford office, and it will be with our carers passport. Our carers passport service has been running since 2013. And to date, we've produced 18,000 carers passports to people all around Hertfordshire in the county. And this is one staff member with, at the moment, 5 volunteers. And it's always been quite, volunteer based, where lots of volunteers come in. They all meet on a Tuesday. It's a really nice social, really good atmosphere. We have a break, we have tea, we have cake, and they're learning new skills, but also meeting other volunteers, and they really like the interaction. So we'd like another member or another 2 members to come and join us on a Tuesday. And that would be, so some of the tasks that they'll be doing with the admin side on the carers passport is producing the carers passport card, editing photographs, and also registering carers, because a lot of the carers that come through the carers passport are new to us. Some may already be registered with us, so that's fine. We have to check some information and then we produce the card. So it is a very fun place to come and be together with the other volunteers. So we're looking for someone that can come in and fit in. And if you like to do admin, you like to do editing, and you enjoy working in a team, then we'd love to hear from you. Just to go through what everybody else has said, we pay out of pocket expenses. We have volunteer network socials every other month for our volunteers to all come together of whatever volunteering role they're doing. So that's a really fun thing to come and do. So that's the passport team. And then we also have our information carer planning service. Now, this is the service that gives all our support to our carers. So if someone comes to us and wants to be registered, all our services are free, or there's something specific that they need to know, then they would need to be registered first. And so it's another admin-based role, but it's a little bit different to the passport team. You will be working with other members of the service, but you'll be solely with a laptop and actually registering carers, but also being comfortable talking on the phone as well. So speaking to our carers and taking down some information of maybe how they are, what services they'd like, and then the support after that. There'll be someone there to support you with everything. There's full training with both admin roles, and there's always someone there on hand. You would never be on your own doing this volunteering. And likewise, all expenses are paid into the office within a certain degree. I mean, we couldn't have someone coming from Watford into Hertford. So we're looking more geographically around the Hertford area if possible. Yeah, I mean, we're only a very small office, and it's great. We have tea, coffee things going on and different events and things in the office. And yeah, it's a very, very fun place to come along and volunteer and to work. I've been there just over 9 years now as their volunteer coordinator. That's it. Does anyone have any questions they'd like me to go through, or ask anything else?
Please feel free to post any questions in the chat, but otherwise, thank you for that, Julie. I think a lot of us know how important carers are, and I'm talking about caring for family members or possibly
and all of the charities that are speaking today, we sort of all work fit with them, really, because so obviously the lady that just spoke about space, we would support their the unpaid carers, the mum, the dad, the nan, the granddad. So it's so that's what we are, and that's we're helping all the other charities. And obviously we would then signpost if we had someone that had a child with autism or dyspraxia or whatever, you know, the condition they were, to the charity as well. But yeah, so yeah, it's, I mean, it's a very worthwhile cause, and we need to be there and help support unpaid carers, because, you know, there's not a lot of support out there for them. So
yeah, I think it can be, you're caring for someone because you care very much about them, and you feel you know, possibly also feeling a sense of duty. But I think it can be very isolating that you're doing
yes,
this by
definitely.
yourself. But there are places that can help you, that, like yourselves, that you can talk
and
to.
People don't recognise that they're a carer. I'm just mum, dad, or I'm looking after my
yeah,
you know,
that's what I've got to do. I've got to look after them because they're my mum or dad. But actually, sometimes you need some help as well. And then there are organisations,
and they can't believe that our services are free as well. You know, they say, "Oh," I said, "Well, we need to register you. You know, please. You know, you can access lots of different things that we offer. You know, to our carers. I mean, I know we're talking about volunteering, but we have courses to help in their caring role, or just to give them a mindfulness. They can have carers breaks. You know, there's lots of things that we offer at Carers in Hertfordshire as well to our carers.
Absolutely fantastic. And I think obviously we're here today as this is a volunteering fair.
No, that's fine.
Potential volunteers, but people out there don't always know exactly what charities there are and what they offer. And it might be that someone today watches this video and realizes, oh, I need this help, or my next neighbour could really
can support.
So we might be signposting people to organisations which might make a massive impact on their lives as well. So yeah, positive thought for the day. Thank you ever so much for your presentation and for being here today, Julie. It's fantastic.
That's okay. Thank you for having me.
Okay, next on our agenda we do have Justine from the MND Association, and she'll be followed by Pippa from Pumpkins Wildlife Hospital. So they're the two remaining organisations to speak to us today. So I'll hand over now to Justine to tell us about her organisation and about how you could volunteer with them. Thanks, Justine.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Justine Cox and I'm the Area Support Coordinator for the MND Association in Hertfordshire. So I coordinate the support for people living with motor neurone disease, and I also recruit and support our local volunteers. I'm going to do a little presentation. So hold on, hopefully it'll work well. Hold on. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, it takes a few moments to come up, but we can see it now.
Okay. Is it coming up as full screen for you?
It's coming up as if it was in PowerPoint, but I can see it graphically clearly, so hopefully everyone else can.
Okay, thank you. So the Motor Neurone Disease Association was founded in 1979, and our mission is to improve care and support for people with motor neurone disease, their families and carers. We also fund and promote research, and we campaign as well on behalf of people living with motor neurone disease. So MND is a fatal and rapidly progressing disease. It's absolutely dreadful, and it affects the brain and spinal cord. It can leave people struggling to move, talk, swallow, and eventually breathe. 30% of people die within the first year of diagnosis and more than 50% within 2 years. So as you can imagine, it's really difficult for those affected and their families. It's a real roller coaster. And our role is to support the families that are going through that difficult and challenging journey. So our staff and volunteers work together across England, Northern Ireland and Wales, and we do this to ultimately achieve our vision, which is a world free from MND. Volunteers are involved in all aspects of the work we do, and they work very closely with our paid staff. So in Hertfordshire, our local support is delivered by our Hertfordshire branch, and that's a group of volunteers, and they have different roles, but they're all volunteers, and they do things like fundraising, they organise awareness events, they organise social events, and we provide grants to people living with MND, none of which are means tested, and to their families as well. And we also hold regular support meetings. We have one in Hemel Hempstead and one in Stevenage, and they run both monthly. In South Hart, we are looking for support volunteers, and those volunteers, we call them association visitors, but they provide face-to-face, that one-to-one support to people within their home. And that's why I'm here today, because that's what we're looking to recruit. So what is the role of the support volunteer? So it's just to offer emotional support to people. As I said, you visit people in their houses and they kind of be that sort of befriending person, provide a listening ear. We also signpost people to other services and help them to make informed choices too. We explain to people affected by motor neurone disease how the association can support and help. And our volunteers, they record the information following our guidelines and protocols. So when they've come back from a visit, they'll go onto our portal and just kind of write notes of how the visit went and any further actions that they're going to take, etc. And they develop and maintain relationships with our local branch and group and our other volunteers. So often they attend support meetings, they'll come to fundraising events and also kind of get involved with any awareness events, although there's no expectation to do that. It's just something that people like to do, sort of to feel part of the wider team really. And they also have support and supervision meetings with myself, and we organise development events too for our volunteers. So the role would suit you if you have good listening skills and good communication skills, if you're able to develop and maintain sort of relationships with people affected by MND. And it's not always just the person affected by MND, it's with MND, it's like the families as well, like the wider family unit. Our volunteers are non-judgmental and respectful of diverse lifestyles, and also sort of prepared to increase their understanding of motor neurone disease and its impact on families. Lots of people ask when I speak to them about volunteering about this because they don't have any prior experience of MND, and that's absolutely fine. Not all of our volunteers do. Obviously some do and they've been affected by it, which is why they're motivated to volunteer, but not all of our volunteers do, and it's our role as the association to provide you with the information that you need and give you that understanding. Also, our volunteers need to understand, obviously, confidentiality and the importance of data protection, and are able to assess when extra support might be needed for the person with MND or their family. So what's in it for our volunteers? To become part of a friendly and dedicated team and make a really positive impact to the lives of people affected by MND, and also sort of develop your learning as well and have an access to a range of workshops and events. The role is really flexible, but we do expect our association visitors to commit to a minimum of 2 to 4 hours a month, just to provide that continuity and consistency to the people that they're supporting. Some people support up to maybe 6, 7 families, while other volunteers are working and they might just support one family or one person live with MND and just do 1 visit a month. It's really sort of very flexible. There is training, and you'll be inducted into the role and informed about the association. We have e-learning training, and we have like a face-to-face training, and that's delivered over 4 sessions, and they're 2-hour sessions. And it includes like reflective learning as well. So what does getting started look like? So first of all, we ask people to fill out an online application form so we can just find out a bit more about you. Once we've received this, we'll plan a time to meet together. Obviously, you'll meet with me and we discuss the opportunity and make sure it's right for you. If it isn't, we do have other volunteer roles as well in the association. So some people like to get involved in campaigns or fundraising. And we'll also ask for a couple of references from trusted people. And for this role, we do require a DBS check because obviously you're supporting people face-to-face within their homes. And we do run an open volunteering process. So if you've got any questions throughout, we'll be really glad to chat with you and support you through that volunteering journey. So I've just put some frequently asked questions. First one is around expenses. We encourage all our volunteers to claim expenses for their costs incurred volunteering. The time that we expect people to commit, you can volunteer for as long as you wish. We have some volunteers who have been volunteering for many years, but other people have just done it for shorter times. However, due to the training period involved for the role, we'd sort of expect people to commit for at least 12 months. And because of the role is working directly supporting people with MND, we ask that our volunteers be over 18. I've previously answered the last question. Do I need to have a good understanding of MND? No, you don't. Like I said, we expect to share our knowledge of that with you. We don't expect people to come into us as experts, but if you have got prior experience, then that's fantastic. And obviously you can share that through your volunteering. So that's basically my presentation. If there's any questions or anyone wanted to ask anything else, then I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Justine. That was really, really interesting. So we've heard you today, and we heard earlier from Joanne at Brainkind. Formerly, they were under the Sue Ryder brand, and they do support people with motor neurone disease at their neurological care centre. So those two things have tied up quite nicely today. Yeah. So, like you say, it's one of those things I think we've probably all heard of, but perhaps don't understand very much about. But like you say, you don't need people to understand, but if people have had their lives affected or impacted by it, that might be a reason they specifically want to volunteer with you. But yeah, there's all sorts of reasons for volunteering, and like a lot of people have said today, giving back to the community. And I think people find that volunteering makes them feel good as well. So people do get a lot out of volunteering. We all understand that people's lives today are really busy, so a befriending role like this one can be quite flexible and have not a huge commitment. You don't have to go and do something every week, but you commit to a certain amount of time over a month. So that's quite nice and would work for quite a lot of people, I think. So we always try and look for roles that are going to fit around people's lives, because we all appreciate what modern life is like, don't we, I think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, we do have volunteers and that just might visit one family. And they might just spend like a couple of hours a month just doing that, and it can fit around them as well, obviously, too. So that's good. And I think in terms of awareness around the disease, I think obviously with the recent sports celebrities, and there's some storylines now on soap operas that it's really good, because it's just kind of like increasing the awareness around motor neurone disease. And that's really good. And the role is like it's a very special role, because like I said, families, because of the disease progresses rapidly, families are in turmoil, and there's a lot of different health and social care professionals coming in. I mean, one gentleman told me that he's has a list of 20 that he's in contact with, and it's just really nice for some people to have somebody they can talk to and to listen to them that's not a health and social care professional, but it's actually there to be like
just there for them.
Yeah,
not just there to
exactly, just to talk about life, really. I mean, and just about families, and and I think that's really important for people. And I think as well for the carers, it's nice, because often they feel quite isolated being at home. It's lovely to have like I said, like she said, a lot of us kind of do cross over in our work anyway, so which is really lovely. But yeah, so it's a very rewarding role, and a really important and special role as well, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you ever so much, Justine.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, we're now on to the last organisation for this volunteering fair, and I can see Pippa's there and raring to go. She's going to tell us all about the fantastic work they're doing down at Pumpkins Wildlife Hospital and Rehabilitation Centre, I think is the full title, but I'm sure she'll put me right. Thank you, Pippa.
Hi, thank you very much for the introduction. Very kind of you. Hi, my name is Pippa Aldrett, and I work on the operations team, and I'm also one of the trustees at Pumpkins Wildlife Hospital and Rehabilitation Centre. We have been going since February or March this year, so we're actually a very new charity compared to some of the veteran, more established organisations that I've presented to you today. We specialise in saving and protecting Britain's wildlife, and so all our patients that come through the door inevitably are sick, wounded, or orphaned wild animals that have come across the need to be looked after, sometimes just some rest and recuperation, but more often than not, much needed and severely unfunded veterinary support. So as a hospital, we deal with all sorts of animals like hedgehogs, foxes, all sorts of wild fowl. And we have been closed temporarily over the summer months so that we could rebuild ourselves into a nice, warm, safe, dry, well-ventilated, well-lit, clean environment for our patients and our human volunteers. I've come to talk to you today about the variety of roles that we have available. We have lots of different interesting tasks for volunteers, ranging from simple gentle desk jobs like mine, working in the office, doing reception, being the first face that patients and volunteers and donors alike see when they bring a wounded, sick or orphaned animal to our premises, all the way through to animal care. So we have a variety of animal care roles, and this involves anything from helping us clean out enclosures to helping the vet handle animals in preparation for examination, also feeding them, looking after them, and so on. Some of our volunteers work remotely. They don't necessarily come to the centre. They can be foster carers as well. So when some of our animals are not quite ready to go home back into the wild, but need some sort of safer environment rather than being in hospital, it just helps speed up their recovery. So our volunteers come in all different shapes and sizes, from the age of 18 upwards, all the way through to one of our volunteers is even 76 years old, and she heads up our HR team. All different shapes and sizes. We don't discriminate. We welcome everybody with very open arms and a massive open heart. We do invest in our team members by providing them lots of training, which has been developed, whether you are going to be helping us in reception or whether you're going to help us paint our walls or fix some of the electrics, or even just go and fetch animals to and from the hospital, or perhaps even foster caring. We make sure that everyone is fully briefed, they know what they need to do, what to expect, and that they have the necessary equipment and information available to allow them to bloom and to flourish and to do what needs to be done that's right for the animal. I've been with pumpkins since the very beginning, since we started talking about setting up a hospital. And last month, we officially launched our name so that people know that we are officially here, because we've been working quietly behind the scenes, getting ourselves ready. We launched to a small amount of fanfare because we have two wonderful, very supportive patrons in Charles Dance and Mr. Peter Egan. And we are getting ready to open our doors to receiving hedgehogs, foxes, and wild birds. So training is now underway for a lot of our volunteers, and we are always welcoming volunteers who come through our door. There'll never be enough people. We particularly need help in fundraising right now, because as a new charity, we need to build up a bit of a war chest, because we have plans for growth and we have plans to hire people and pay for a centre manager who can essentially be the glue that holds this organisation together. So we are looking for people who love to go out and talk to people and ask them to donate, whether it's materials, animal feed, or even cash. Either or any of those are mostly welcome, so that behind the scenes it enables us to keep the lights on, keep the electricity going, and also look after all the various animals that we plan to receive over the winter months and into the spring, when we expect it to be pretty busy, because all the animals will be coming out of hibernation. They'll be having loads of babies. Some of them, unfortunately, will be orphaned. And we're hoping to make sure that we are ready and able to protect those endangered wildlife in our areas, like the humble hedgehog, so that we're able to maintain this natural eco-balance that some of us might not be aware that we're taking advantage of, but we want to make sure that balance is in tune and in cycle. So if you're interested, please look at all the jobs that we've got on the GoVolHerts website. There are loads of interesting roles available, or just email us at info@thewildlifehospital.org.uk and come for a visit and fill out an application form and join this merry band of growing volunteers. And I'm I'll be delighted to take any questions you might have. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much for that, Pippa.
Short and sweet.
That's fine. That's fine. It's great to hear what's going on with you down at Pumpkins, and you've got sort of plans for expanding, and that Charles Dance is your page.
Charles Dodds and Peter Egan. Peter is a particularly supportive patron. He is an inveterate animal activist and spends a large part of his free time doing animal awareness and support. How he fits that in between all his acting jobs, I do not know. And of course, Charlie has been a fantastic supporter of our charity right from the minute we started. So we're very lucky to have such wonderful patrons. And Peter came around last month for a visit and snipped the ribbon and officially launch our name. So we're very, very lucky.
Pippa, would you mind to provide your email address again, please? Would you put in the chat, please?
Of course I will. I'll do that right now. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I'm sorry there, because my laptop just froze on me.
I thought it was our connection, because we're in the middle of this beautiful farm, and our connectivity might be a little bit ropey because everything is brand new, and even though we're in the middle of this beautiful countryside surrounded by a canal and lakes, and this gorgeous leafy part of Hertfordshire in the middle of a green belt, sometimes communications is a little bit
No, I apologize. I think it was me that froze there. But thank you, Anna.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Okay. So if anyone does have any more questions about anything they've heard today, please feel free to get in contact with the speakers, or contact us here at GoVolHerts. Our email address is info@govolherts.org.uk. Or if you have any other questions, please drop us a line. Feel free to browse the website for all sorts of exciting volunteering opportunities. Once again, thank you to all our presenters today. Really interesting to hear about what you're doing and about your volunteering opportunities. I hope that anyone listening has found a volunteering opportunity that works for them, or an organisation they're interested in that might be able to create a volunteering opportunity. And if not, we've got over 500 different opportunities currently on the site. So please feel free to have a look, because there really is something out there for everyone. So as usual, thanks for joining us. Thanks to all our presenters for the day, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you very